I was walking with a spring in my step that morning. 3 years with Sophia, and I finally had the diamond ring tucked safely in my jacket pocket. After months of saving, planning, and dreaming about our future together, I was ready to propose. Then she came home from her San Francisco trip and dropped the bomb she wanted an open relationship. She had already met someone else. My world collapsed in an instant. While I tell you how my picture-perfect relationship shattered overnight, let me know where you're watching from. If you've ever felt blindsided by someone you trusted, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, the way I handled this betrayal is something you will not want to miss. I still remember the day I met Sophia like it was yesterday. We were both at a community tech event in downtown Seattle. I was 31, working as an IT specialist at a software development company. She walked in wearing a blue dress that matched her eyes, her dark hair falling over her shoulders. She was presenting her graphic design portfolio, and I was immediately captivated, not just by her beauty, but by her passion and creativity. After her presentation, I awkwardly introduced myself near the refreshment table. I accidentally spilled my coffee on my shirt trying to shake her hand, which made her laugh. That laugh would become my favorite sound for the next 3 years. We exchanged numbers, and I called her the very next day. Our first date was at a small Italian restaurant by the waterfront. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. Our second date was a weekend hike at Mount Rainier. By the third date, I already knew she was special. Our relationship progressed naturally from there. The first year was magical. We explored Seattle together, trying new restaurants, attending art exhibitions, and spending lazy Sundays watching movies. For our first anniversary, I surprised her with a weekend trip to Portland. She cried when I gave her a custom necklace with both our initials. By year 2, we were practically living together. I would stay at her apartment most nights and gradually moved my things in. We adopted a cat named Pepper, who quickly became our furry child. We talked about the future, about buying a house together someday, having children growing old side by side. Sophia supported me when I was gunning for a promotion at work, staying up late to help me prepare for presentations. I supported her when she decided to start freelancing alongside her agency job. Our favorite memory was a 2-week road trip to Yellowstone. We camped under the stars, took hundreds of photos, and even got lost, once turning what should have been a stressful situation into an adventure. I remember looking at her across the campfire and thinking, this is the woman I want to spend my life with. But about 6 months ago, things started to change subtly. At first, it was so gradual I barely noticed. Sophia began working later at her design agency. Her previously occasional business trips became more frequent. She would come home exhausted, too tired to talk much, let alone be intimate. I understood. We were both building our careers, and sometimes that meant sacrifices. Then I noticed she was always checking her phone, often smiling at texts. When I would walk into the room, she would quickly put it away. She changed her password, which she had previously shared with me. She started dressing differently too, buying new clothes and spending more time on her appearance. Her circle of friends changed as well. Suddenly, she was always meeting up with new colleagues I had never met. Weekend brunches with people from the industry. Networking events that ran late into the night. When I expressed my concerns, she assured me everything was fine. She was just focused on advancing her career, making new connections. She told me I was being paranoid, that I should be supportive instead of suspicious. And I wanted to believe her. I did believe her. I trusted her completely. "Edward, you know how much I love you," she would say, kissing me softly. "I am just really busy right now with this new client. It will calm down soon." So I pushed away my doubts. Instead, I decided that what our relationship needed was to take the next step. After 3 years together, maybe it was time to make it official. With my promotion secured and her freelance business taking off, it seemed like the perfect time to propose. I enlisted my best friend James to help me pick out a ring. We spent weekends visiting jewelry stores, comparing diamonds, discussing settings. I wanted something that reflected Sophia's unique personality, elegant, but with a creative twist. I finally found the perfect ring, a princess-cut diamond with sapphires on either side set in white gold. It cost nearly 3 months of my salary, but Sophia was worth every penny. I planned to propose at Canlis, the fancy restaurant, where we had celebrated our second anniversary. I made reservations for the following month, giving her time to return from her upcoming San Francisco trip and settle back into our routine. I rehearsed what I would say, imagining her face when I got down on one knee. I even called her parents to ask for their blessing, which they happily gave. Everything was set. I just needed to wait for her to return from her week-long business trip. Little did I know, that trip would change everything. The day Sophia was due back from San Francisco, I cleaned the apartment, bought fresh flowers, and prepared her favorite dinner. I wanted everything to be perfect when she got home. I missed her terribly during the week she was gone. We had video called every night, but it was not the same as having her there. When she walked through the door, something felt off. Her smile seemed strained. She hugged me, but it felt mechanical, as if she was going through the motions. During dinner, she was distracted, checking her phone frequently, laughing at texts. "How was the trip?" I asked, trying to engage her in conversation. "It was great," she replied, finally putting her phone down. "The client loved my designs. The team went out to celebrate almost every night." "That sounds fun," I said, noticing how her eyes lit up when she talked about her evenings out. "I missed you." "I missed you too," she said. But the words sounded hollow. After dinner, as we were sitting on the couch with glasses of wine, Sophia turned to me with a serious expression. "Edward, we need to talk about something," she began, and my heart immediately started racing. Nothing good ever follows those words. "What is it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She took a deep breath. "I have been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I feel like maybe we should consider opening up our relationship." I blinked, not sure I had heard her correctly. "Opening up? You mean seeing other people?" She nodded. "Yes, I have been reading a lot about it. Many couples our age are doing it. It is a more modern approach to relationships." My mind was spinning. This came completely out of nowhere. "But why are you not happy with me? With us?" It is not that, she said quickly. "I love you, Edward. I do. But I feel like I am missing out on experiences. We have been together since I was 26. Sometimes I wonder what else is out there." My stomach dropped. "Is there someone specific you want to see?" She hesitated, and in that hesitation I had my answer before she even spoke. "Well, I did meet someone in San Francisco. His name is Alex. He is a creative director at the client company. We really connected, but I have not done anything wrong. I wanted to talk to you first." It felt like a physical blow to my chest. The room seemed to spin around me. All my suspicions from the past months suddenly made perfect sense. The late nights, the secretive texting, the emotional distance. "So this is not about opening up our relationship," I said, my voice unnaturally calm, despite the storm inside me. "This is about you wanting permission to cheat with this guy, Alex." "That is not fair," she snapped, suddenly defensive. "I am being honest with you. I could have just gone behind your back, but I respect you too much for that." "Respect?" I laughed bitterly. "If you respected me, you would not be asking for my permission to sleep with someone else." "You are being so closed-minded," she argued, her voice rising. "This is about expanding our love, not limiting it. Many couples have successful open relationships. It does not mean I love you any less." We argued for hours. The more we talked, the more it became clear that this was not a spontaneous idea. Sophia had been thinking about this, possibly planning it for months. She had already emotionally detached from our relationship, creating space for someone new. "Have you already slept with him?" I asked point blank, needing to know the full truth. "No," she insisted, but she could not meet my eyes. "I told you I wanted to talk to you first." Something about her response did not sit right with me. My instincts were screaming that she was lying. While she was in the bathroom, I did something I had never done before and never thought I would do. I checked her phone. It was a breach of privacy, yes, but I felt I deserved to know the truth. What I found crushed me. There were dozens of messages between her and Alex going back weeks before her trip. Flirtatious at first, then explicit. Pictures, plans, declarations, and confirmation that they had indeed spent every night of her business trip together. I put the phone back exactly where it was and sat on the couch feeling numb. When she returned, she must have seen something in my face. "What is wrong?" she asked. "I know you slept with him," I said quietly. "I saw your messages." Her face went through a series of emotions: shock, anger, and finally defeat. "You went through my phone. That is a violation of my privacy. And sleeping with another man is a violation of our relationship," I countered. "How long has this been going on?" "Sophia, weeks, months." She collapsed into a chair, tears streaming down her face. "It just happened, Edward. We connected instantly when we met at a conference 2 months ago. We have been talking since then, but nothing physical happened until San Francisco. So all those late nights, those weekend networking events." She looked away. "Sometimes I was with him. I felt like I was in a nightmare. 3 years together, and she had thrown it all away for a fling. The engagement ring in my jacket pocket felt like it was burning a hole through the fabric. "I was going to propose to you," I said, my voice breaking. "I have the ring right here." Her eyes widened in shock. "Edward the First." "Do not," I cut her off. "Just do not." I walked out of the room, unable to look at her anymore. I spent the rest of the night on the balcony, staring at the Seattle skyline through tears, wondering how my life had fallen apart so completely in a single evening. I did not sleep that night. How could I? My mind kept replaying our conversation, the text messages I had seen, the months of subtle changes that I had ignored. By morning, I had called James, who listened patiently as I poured out my heartbreak at 3:00 a.m. "You know what you have to do, right?" James said after I finished. "You cannot stay with her after this." Deep down, I knew he was right. But 3 years is a long time to just walk away from. I loved Sophia despite everything. Or at least I loved who I thought she was. When the sun came up, I found her asleep on the couch. She had been crying. Her makeup was smeared across her face. For a moment, I felt a pang of sympathy. But then I remembered the messages, the lies, the betrayal. I made coffee and waited for her to wake up. When she did, she looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I nodded, sitting across from her at our kitchen table, the same table where we had shared thousands of meals, made plans, laughed together. "I need to show you something," I said, pulling out my phone and opening the screenshots I had taken of her conversations with Alex. Her face crumpled when she saw them. "You took screenshots. I needed evidence," I said flatly, "because I knew you would try to minimize what happened." She started crying again. "Edward, I made a terrible mistake. I got caught up in something that did not mean anything. Alex is nothing compared to what we have. Had I corrected her, what we had. Please," she begged, reaching for my hand. "We can work through this. I will cut all contact with him. I will change jobs if I have to. I will do anything." "Would you have told me the truth if I had not found those messages?" I asked. She hesitated, and that was answer enough. I pulled out the small velvet box from my pocket and placed it on the table between us. "I was going to ask you to marry me. I thought we had a future together." She reached for the box, but I pulled it back. "It is not for you anymore," I said quietly. "Our relationship ended the moment you decided to be with him." "Edward, please," she sobbed. "It was a mistake. I love you, not him. If you loved me, you would not have betrayed me. You would not have lied to me for months. You would not have slept with another man and then come home asking for an open relationship as a cover." I stood up, suddenly feeling stronger. "I cannot be with someone I cannot trust, Sophia. And I will never trust you again. You cannot just throw away 3 years, she cried, her voice rising in panic. "I did not throw them away," I replied calmly. "You did." I told her I would be moving out that day. I called James again, who immediately offered his spare room. While Sophia continued to plead and cry, I packed my essential belongings: clothes, toiletries, my laptop, and a few sentimental items. I would come back for the rest when she was at work. "What about Pepper?" she asked, referring to our cat. "You keep him," I said. As much as I loved that cat, I knew starting over would be easier without pet responsibilities. Just take good care of him. As I prepared to leave, Sophia made one last desperate attempt. "I will do anything to fix this, Edward. Therapy, whatever you want. Please just give me another chance." I looked at her, this woman I had loved so deeply, now a stranger to me. "I deserve someone who would not need a second chance, Sophia. Someone who values loyalty and honesty as much as I do." With those words, I walked out the door, the engagement ring still in my pocket. As I drove to James's place, I felt an overwhelming mix of emotions: devastation at what I had lost, anger at her betrayal, but also, surprisingly, a small sense of relief. I had stood up for myself. I had not compromised my values, even when it would have been easier to forgive and forget. That night, lying on James's guest bed, I allowed myself to fully feel the pain. I cried until I had no tears left. But amid the sorrow, I made a promise to myself: I would rebuild my life stronger than before. I blocked Sophia on all social media platforms and told mutual friends I needed space. I knew the road to healing would be long, but I had taken the first step. The first 2 weeks after leaving Sophia were the hardest. Every morning I woke up reaching for her, only to find empty space beside me. Everyday objects became landmines of memories. A song on the radio, her favorite coffee shop, even seeing someone with similar dark hair on the street would send me spiraling. I constantly fought the urge to call her, to see if she was okay, to ask if she missed me too. My finger would hover over her contact information, which I had not deleted despite blocking her on social media. In those moments, James was my savior. "Delete her number," he insisted one night when he caught me staring at my phone. "You will never move forward if you keep looking back." He was right, of course. That night, I finally deleted her contact information. It was a small step, but it felt significant. James and our friend group surrounded me with support. They took turns checking in, inviting me to dinners, movie nights, and weekend activities to keep me busy. My friend Lisa, who had gone through a similar betrayal the previous year, took me out for coffee and shared her own journey to healing. "The pain does not go away overnight," she told me. "But one day you will realize you have gone a whole day without thinking about her. Then a week. Then it just becomes part of your past, not something that defines your present." I threw myself into work, taking on extra projects that kept my mind occupied. I signed up for an advanced programming course I had been putting off, channeling my emotional energy into intellectual growth. I started going to the gym regularly, finding that physical exhaustion helped quiet my racing thoughts at night. On weekends, I joined a hiking group, exploring the beautiful trails around Washington state. The physical activity, fresh air, and new friendships slowly began to heal. Parts of me I had not realized were broken. About a month after our breakup, the messages from Sophia began. At first, just simple texts asking how I was doing. When I did not respond, they became longer, more desperate. "Edward, I miss you so much. I made the biggest mistake of my life. Please talk to me. I ended everything with Alex. It meant nothing. You are the only one who ever mattered. I am in therapy now. I am working on myself. Please give me a chance to show you I have changed." I did not reply to any of them. Each message reopened wounds that were just beginning to heal. Eventually, I had to change my number. Then came the emails. Long emotional pleas for forgiveness. Detailed explanations of what had led her astray, how meaningless it had been, how deeply she regretted her actions. I created a filter that sent them directly to a folder I never opened. One day, a package arrived at my office. Inside was a watch I had admired months ago, but never bought because it was too expensive. The note simply read, "I remember everything about you. Please remember the good in us." I donated the watch to a charity auction at work. Through a mutual friend, I heard that things with Alex had ended badly. Apparently, he had never been interested in anything serious and had moved on to someone new within weeks. Sophia was devastated, having thrown away our relationship for something so fleeting. I felt no satisfaction in her pain, just sadness for all that had been lost. 6 weeks after our breakup, I was starting to feel like myself again. Not whole, not yet, but the sharp edges of pain had begun to dull. I was sleeping better, smiling more, genuinely finding joy in small things again. That was when Sophia showed up at James's apartment. I opened the door expecting the pizza delivery we had ordered, and instead found her standing there, tears already streaming down her face. She looked different, smaller somehow, with dark circles under her eyes and her usually perfect hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. "Edward," she whispered, her voice breaking on my name. "What are you doing here, Sophia?" I asked, my heart racing despite my resolve to stay calm. "I had to see you," she said. "You would not answer my calls or emails." I did not know what else to do. James appeared behind me. "Everything okay?" he asked, his protective instinct obvious. "It is fine," I assured him. "I will handle this." I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. Standing in the hallway with Sophia felt surreal, like encountering a character from a book I had read long ago. "You cannot just show up here," I said firmly. "I know," she admitted. "I am sorry. I miss you so much, Edward. Every day without you is torture. I keep thinking about all we had, all we planned." You should have thought about that before I said, surprised by how steady my voice remained. "I was confused and stupid," she cried. "Alex meant nothing. It was a brief insanity, and I have paid for it every day since. Please, Edward. 3 years together has to count for something. Everyone makes mistakes." "This was not a mistake," I replied. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something hurtful in an argument. You made a series of deliberate choices over and over again that you knew would hurt me." She fell to her knees then, something I never thought I would see. Proud, confident Sophia literally begging. "I will do anything," she sobbed. "Anything to fix this. I love you. I have never stopped loving you. What we had was real, Edward. You know it was real." For a brief moment, I felt my resolve waver. Part of me still loved her. Part of me wanted to believe we could find our way back. But then I remembered the texts, the lies, the manipulation. I remembered how she had made me doubt my own instincts, called me paranoid when I sensed something was wrong. I helped her to her feet gently. "I do not hate you, Sophia. I hope you find happiness, I really do. But it will not be with me." "How can you be so cold?" she asked, wiping at her tears. "How can you just throw away everything we built?" "I am not being cold," I explained calmly. "I am being true to myself. I cannot be with someone I cannot trust. And trust once broken is nearly impossible to rebuild. Other couples get past infidelity," she argued. "People make mistakes and grow stronger." "Maybe they do," I acknowledged. "But that is not the path for me. I deserve better, and honestly, so do you. You deserve to be with someone you would not betray." She looked at me for a long moment, perhaps finally understanding that my decision was final. "I will always love you, Edward," she said quietly. "Goodbye, Sophia," I replied, and went back inside, closing the door on that chapter of my life for good. 6 months passed, and life gradually took on a new rhythm. I eventually found my own apartment, a small but modern one-bedroom in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. Decorating it became a form of therapy, creating a space that was entirely mine, filled with things that brought me joy. I had thrown myself into new experiences. I joined a community coding group that built websites for local nonprofits. I took a solo trip to Alaska, something I had always wanted to do but had put off. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. One Saturday, I volunteered at a community garden event, helping build raised beds for a neighborhood project. That is where I met Hannah, a kindergarten teacher. with an infectious laugh and dirt smudged on her cheek. We started talking over lunch break and found ourselves still chatting as the event wound down. Unlike my whirlwind beginning with Sophia, my relationship with Hannah developed slowly and thoughtfully. We exchanged numbers, but did not have our first official date until 2 weeks later. I was upfront about my recent breakup, and she appreciated my honesty. She had gone through something similar a year earlier and understood the healing process. Hannah was different from Sophia in many ways. Where Sophia had been intense and passionate, Hannah was steady and grounded. She valued simple pleasures, home-cooked meals, long walks, board game nights with friends. Most importantly, she valued honesty and communication, above all else. 3 months into dating Hannah, I ran into Sophia at a coffee shop downtown. My stomach dropped when I saw her, but to my surprise, the pain I expected did not come. Instead, I felt a strange sense of peace. She spotted me at the counter and approached hesitantly. "Edward," she said, "how are you?" "I am well," I replied honestly. "How have you been?" "Okay," she said, though her eyes told a different story. "Working a lot. I moved to a new agency last month." "That is great," I said, and meant it. A fresh start can be good. There was an awkward pause. "Are you seeing anyone?" she finally asked. I nodded. "Yes, I am. It is still new, but it is going well." I could see the pain flash across her face, quickly masked. "I am happy for you," she said. "You deserve someone good." "Thank you," I said. "I hope you find what you are looking for too, Sophia." Our interaction lasted less than 5 minutes, but it gave me closure I had not realized I needed. As I watched her walk away, I felt no lingering attachment. No what-ifs. Just appreciation for the lessons our relationship had taught me. That evening, as Hannah and I cooked dinner together in my apartment, I told her about the encounter. "How did it feel?" she asked, genuinely curious. "Like talking to someone from a previous life," I said. "Familiar but distant." She smiled, squeezing my hand. "That sounds like healing to me." And she was right. I had healed not just from the betrayal, but from the patterns that had allowed me to ignore red flags, to prioritize someone else's happiness above my own integrity, to settle for less than I deserved. The diamond ring I had bought for Sophia sat in my drawer for months after our breakup. I could not bring myself to return it, as it represented not just the relationship I had lost, but the future I had envisioned. Eventually, I sold it and used the money as part of a down payment on my apartment. It felt right, transforming a symbol of a broken promise into an investment in my independent future. Looking back on everything now, I can see that Sophia's betrayal painful, as it was forced me to confront important truths. It taught me the value of self-respect and the courage to walk away from something that was damaging, even when staying would have been easier. It showed me that loneliness, while difficult, is far better than compromising your core values for the sake of companionship. Most importantly, it taught me that sometimes losing what you thought you wanted opens the door to finding what you truly need. My relationship with Hannah is built on a foundation of mutual respect, honesty, and trust, qualities I now know are non-negotiable. That diamond ring I had bought for Sophia, I eventually sold it and used the money for a down payment on my own place. Sometimes the future you lose makes way for the future you deserve. And in the end, I did not just find someone who truly values loyalty, I found myself. Have you ever had to make the difficult choice to walk away from someone you loved when they betrayed your trust? Would you have handled this situation differently than I did? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that standing up for yourself is always the right choice, even when it hurts. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, your self-respect is always worth more than someone else's temporary happiness.